Once upon a time, in the heart of a sprawling metropolis, there stood a grim and imposing building, the workhouse. Its towering walls, cold and unfeeling, cast a long shadow over the lives of those who dwelled within. Among its inhabitants was a young orphan named Oliver Twist, a boy of sorrowful countenance who knew not the warmth of a loving family. Oliver's origins were shrouded in mystery. He was left on the workhouse's doorstep as a mere infant, his arrival heralded by a chilling winter's night. His mother, a destitute woman burdened by the weight of poverty, had abandoned him, leaving nothing but a nameless babe wrapped in tattered swaddling. From the day of his arrival, Oliver's life had been one of hardship and privation. The workhouse, a place designed to provide shelter and sustenance to the destitute, proved to be a cruel and unforgiving home. The children who resided there were subjected to a relentless regimen of labor and meager rations, the very essence of their childhood slowly withering away. The master of the workhouse, a pompous and self-important man by the name of Mr. Bumble, ruled with an iron fist. He showed no mercy to the orphans in his charge, viewing them as a burden on society rather than as innocent souls in need of compassion. Life under Mr. Bumble's reign was a ceaseless cycle of hunger, exhaustion, and despair. In the workhouse, Oliver had but one friend, a kind-hearted boy known as Dick. Together they faced the trials and tribulations of their daily existence, offering each other solace in a world devoid of kindness. Their bond was a flicker of light amidst the darkness. Yet, despite their friendship, Oliver's lot in life remained unchanged. The meager portions of gruel, a thin and tasteless porridge, were scarcely enough to sustain him. The relentless labor exacted a toll on his fragile frame, and the overseers showed no mercy. One fateful evening, as Oliver stood trembling in the workhouse dining hall, he committed a grave transgression. The evening meal, a pitiful portion of gruel, was doled out in wooden bowls. Oliver, his empty stomach gnawing at him with hunger, approached Mr. Bumble and timidly uttered the words, "Please, sir, I want some more." The room fell silent, and all eyes turned to the audacious boy who had dared to make such a request. Mr. Bumble, red-faced and incensed, could hardly believe his ears. The words hung in the air, a challenge to the established order of the workhouse. Oliver's plea was met with outrage, and Mr. Bumble's fury knew no bounds. He summoned the Board of Guardians to convene and discuss the matter. The members of the board, a group of stern and unfeeling men, gathered to pass judgment on the boy who had dared to ask for more. The deliberations were swift, and the decision was clear: Oliver would be cast out from the workhouse, expelled into a world of uncertainty and danger. It was a cruel fate for a young boy, but there was no room for compassion in the hearts of those who governed the workhouse. And so Oliver Twist, with his meager belongings in hand, was sent away from the workhouse. He embarked on a journey into the unknown, his steps guided by fate and fortune. The city streets stretched out before him, their labyrinthine alleys and bustling markets a stark contrast to the desolation he had known. Hungry and weary, Oliver wandered through the city, his eyes wide with wonder and trepidation. The cacophony of life in the bustling streets both intrigued and frightened him. It was a world of contrasts, where wealth and poverty existed side by side, and the line between right and wrong was often blurred. After a series of chance encounters and harrowing experiences, Oliver found himself at the mercy of a group of juvenile delinquents led by a wily old man named Fagin. Fagin's gang specialized in pickpocketing and other illicit activities. Their nimble fingers and cunning wits honed through years of criminal enterprise. Fagin, ever the opportunist, saw potential in Oliver, a newcomer to the world of thievery. With a mixture of coercion and persuasion, he enlisted the boy into his gang, introducing him to a life of crime that would forever alter the course of Oliver's destiny. Despite his involvement in a world of crime, Oliver's inherent goodness and naivety set him apart from the hardened members of Fagin's gang. He struggled to reconcile his newfound criminal activities with the moral values instilled in him during his time in the workhouse. In the heart of London's criminal underworld, Oliver encountered a colorful array of characters. Among them was the artful Dodger, a charismatic and street-smart beau who served as a mentor and guide to the novice pickpocket. There was Charlie Bates, a mischievous and light-hearted lad, and Nancy, a young woman whose compassionate heart belied her association with the criminal fraternity. Nancy, in particular, held a unique place in Oliver's life. She had been a member of Fagin's gang since her childhood, and her compassion and kindness had not been entirely extinguished by her criminal endeavors. Despite the darkness that surrounded her, Nancy cared deeply for Oliver and felt a sense of responsibility for his well-being. As Oliver navigated the treacherous waters of the criminal world, he also found himself entangled in a nefarious plot. Fagin had devised a plan, one that would see Oliver involved in a daring robbery alongside the notorious criminal Bill Sikes. Their target was the house of a wealthy old man named Mr. Brownlow. Unbeknownst to Oliver, Mr. Brownlow had been searching for him ever since he had disappeared from the workhouse. The compassionate gentleman had taken a keen interest in the young orphan, driven by a desire to help him escape the clutches of poverty. The robbery was executed with precision, and Oliver found himself drawn deeper into a life of crime. However, the heist took an unexpected turn, and Oliver was wounded during the course of events. Bill Sikes, fearing the consequences of their actions, fled the scene, leaving Oliver behind. Mr. Brownlow, alerted by the commotion, arrived at the scene and discovered the injured boy. His heart brimming with compassion, Mr. Brownlow took Oliver into his care, determined to provide him with the love and support he had never known. As Oliver slowly recovered from his injuries, he began to experience a life far removed from the criminal underworld. Mr. Brownlow's home, a comfortable and inviting residence, offered Oliver a stark contrast to the squalor and danger he had endured. Under Mr. Brownlow's watchful eye, Oliver's life began to change. He received an education, nourishing meals, and, most importantly, the love and care that had been absent from his early years. It was a transformation that touched the hearts of all who knew him. Yet, as Oliver's life improved, Mr. Brownlow became increasingly determined to unravel the mystery of the boy's past. With the help of his loyal housekeeper, Mrs. Bedwin, and the astute observations of Mr. Grimwig, a friend with a penchant for skepticism, they delved into the enigma that shrouded Oliver's origins. Back in the city, Fagin and his gang grew increasingly anxious about Oliver's absence. Their criminal empire was threatened, and Fagin was determined to recover the beau who had unwittingly become a pawn in their nefarious schemes. It was during this tumultuous time that Nancy, moved by her affection for Oliver, decided to take matters into her own hands. She secretly met with Rose Maylie, a kind-hearted woman who'd shown Oliver compassion during a chance encounter. Nancy disclosed Oliver's whereabouts and implored Rose to help the young boy escape the clutches of Fagin and Bill Sikes. Rose, deeply moved by Nancy's plea, resolved to intervene on Oliver's behalf. She brought him back to her home, a charming cottage nestled in the peaceful countryside. There, Oliver experienced a world of kindness, safety, and love, far removed from the dangers of the city. However, Nancy's actions did not go unnoticed by Bill Sikes, the menacing criminal whose affection for her had turned to jealousy and suspicion. Consumed by rage and paranoia, Bill accused Nancy of betrayal, leading to a violent and tragic confrontation that would forever alter the course of their lives. In a fit of uncontrollable anger, Bill Sikes murdered Nancy in a moment of horrific violence. The act sent shockwaves through the criminal underworld, and the city was ablaze with the news of the tragic event. Nancy's death marked a turning point, setting in motion a series of events that would ultimately lead to a dramatic climax. As Oliver continued to thrive in the care of Rose Maylie and her benevolent aunt, Miss Maylie, the mystery of his past began to unravel. Clues emerged, connections were made, and a truth long hidden came to light. Oliver's true identity was revealed was not a nameless orphan, but the long-lost child of a wealthy family. His real name was Edward Leeford, and his lineage placed him among the upper echelons of society. His grandfather, Mr. Brownlow's dear friend, sought to rectify the injustices of the past by embracing the boy as his rightful heir. Justice, too, would be served to those who had wronged Oliver. Fagin's criminal empire crumbled, and he was apprehended by the authorities. Bill Sikes, in a desperate attempt to escape justice, met a violent and grisly end while attempting to flee from the law. With the darkest chapters of his life behind him, Oliver embraced his newfound family and fortune. He cherished the love and care he received from those who had become his true familiar. Brownlow, Rose Maylie, Miss Maylie, and their loyal housekeeper, Mrs. Bedwin. And so, dear listener, the story of Oliver Twist serves as a timeless reminder that even in the bleakest of circumstances, goodness and compassion can shine through. It is a tale of resilience, friendship, and the power of love to transform a young orphan's life. As you drift into the realm of dreams, may you carry these lessons with you, and always remember that hope can be found even in the most unlikely places. Sleep well, and may your dreams be filled with kindness and warmth.